familiar with the concept of evolution? In their time, humans were capable of many great things. They could fly like eagles fly. They could speak across oceans. But now, it is our time. And it is my kingdom. We will learn. Apes will learn. I will learn. And I will conquer.
Legend says ape and human lived side by side. Impossible as that may seem.
Why do they hunt her?
She's smarter than most.
The elders did not tell us everything about this world.
Bend for your king.
Apes hunt humans. That is wrong.
Together, you will die.
No, together, strong.
I've waited all year, and finally it's here. For 30 straight days, it's a month-long movie craze. That's right, I'm ready to post a podcast each day. I watched a movie, and now I've got stuff to say. 'Cause movie month is here, yes dear. In case I wasn't clear, 30 movies, films that I've never seen. Cast, podcast, from first day of month to last. In June, all June, this is my movie month too. Been doing this for 12 years. I'll pause for applause and cheers. Okay, well, maybe not. But please follow all month long. 'Cause movie month is here. Yes, dear. In case I wasn't clear, 30 movies, films that I've never seen. Cast, podcast, from first day of month to last. In June, all June. Listen and subscribe is what you should do. Apple, Spotify, and yes, on YouTube. Listen and subscribe, come on, don't be rude. Listen and subscribe all June.
See the white light, the light within. Be your own disciple, fan the sparks of will. For all of us waiting, your kingdom will come. Now rays of power shining, rays of magic fall on the golden voice that speaks within us all. For all of us waiting, your kingdom will come. Everybody sing it with me. There's just 2 words. Kingdom come. Ready? Here we go. Kingdom come. And then you got to shriek. Can you shriek? I'm going to try it. I'm not really going to try it, but I'm going to try. I try to be shrieking as quietly as possible. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Wednesday, June 11th, which means for the 11th day in a row, I've watched a movie I've never seen before. And for the 11th day in a row, I am here podcasting about that movie to you, the people of Earth. Today, I watched the most recent, the latest entry into the Planet of the Apes movie series, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Get it? That's where I got the Kingdom Come. And you know, this movie shows kind of what happens when the humans pretty much destroy themselves, and while at the same time fast-tracking the evolution of apes. And I realized that nothing shows off the epitome of human intelligence, of human evolution, more than the band Man-O-War. So Man-O-War plus Kingdom, it came together, it made sense, and that's why I chose this song. So Planet of the Apes actually kind of holds a special place in movie month. It was the 20th movie ever. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, all the way back to 2014, was the 20th movie that I've ever seen for movie month. It wasn't a podcast. It was just written as a blog, because that's what the first 2 years were. And then there was the second one, whatever the second one was called. I don't remember. Was it Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? So that one I saw in theater with friends, but not for movie month. Was I crazy going to see a movie in the theater, not for movie month? That is insane. Wait, back to the greatness of Man-O-War. I just wanted to force you to hear the great voice of Eric Adams, not the mayor of New York City, but the lead singer of Man-O-War. I never got to see Man-O-War in concert. No, they're still around today, but they were one time they were at a club in Haverhill, and I completely missed them. And then they came back like years later, and it was way too expensive. They played like one show in the U.S. or one show in Boston. I was like, no, I'm not going to spend that kind of money to see Man-O-War. But I regret it. I regret it to this day. But what I don't regret is watching this movie. So as I said, Rise of the Planet of the Apes was the first year of movie month. Then Dawn I saw with friends. Then come back 2018, I saw the 2017 film War for the Planet of the Apes. Not of. So that was not an of. Ooh, so there was Rise of, Dawn of, War for, and now we're back to of. These are long movie titles, and I think multiple times today I said, I'm watching War of the Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes. No, I saw that years ago. And today I'm here talking about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes from 2024. I kind of really liked this movie. I was like, I'm going to watch it. I'll enjoy it. And I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's like years ago, they kind of perfected the digital effects for, bringing apes to life with motion capture. And it just kind of, I don't know if it got better, but it just felt, there were moments where I said, that looks kind of digitally, but it never once didn't feel like characters in the movie. I never felt like, the human character is looking at another human with dots all over their face, and then they digitally add them later. No, it pretty much felt like they were part of the reality, part of what we were seeing, part of the world. And it worked for me. I didn't go back and watch any of the original three, and you kind of didn't have to. they gave you a quick little glimpse at the beginning, and then they said many, many lightrons later, and they brought you into the distant future, or many generations later. But yet we're not at the point where we are in the original Planet of the Apes, and I don't know if we ever will. I don't know if that's just I don't know if they're trying to connect this to that ever, where we're getting apes basically dressed in standing fully tall, all having British accent like Roddy McDowell, and that because he was Caesar in the future ones. There's a podcast that I listen to called Nerd Lunch, that was the original. Now it's called After Lunch, the post Nerd Lunch, and they did all the Planet of the Apes movies. And I went back and watched the classic ones from the 60s and the 70s. I even watched the television show just to watch along with this podcast. And I listened to them get all the way up to Through War. And then, boom, they got to last year's movie. And I said, I'm saving this for movie month. It's been sitting in my podcast app for over a year. And I'm ready to go listen to that after I talk to you about the movie. What was the point of that? Oh, I went and watched all those. I didn't go back and watch any of those new ones because I've seen them already. But it did reference them a little. But this is 7 years later. So it's like, are we just going to pick up? I thought I'm going to be lost a little bit. I don't remember these people. I didn't have to. We jumped generations to the point where Caesar, from the original, not the original, but you know what I mean, this legacy trilogy, that Caesar is a long distant memory that certain apes have bastardized his teachings to basically take control. And I'm the new Caesar. But really, was that king the villain? They were bad, but were they the true villain? I kind of think maybe May was at the end. I'm like, wait, am I supposed to be rooting for her? Because at a certain point you think you are, but then I don't think I was at the end when she basically tried to drown everyone in Ape City. So the movie brings us to years later where they can kind of write their own, here is the society we see now. There are all these apes. They're like an eagle clan. They raise and train eagles and animals. The youngins or the youths go looking for eggs, not to eat, but then to raise these birds as their pets, as their companions. And that's it seems like it's a rite of passage. We meet these three apes, and what was his name? I want to say Neo, but that can't be right. Noah. There's Noah and Nova, even though she's not Nova. So Noah, he's like our main protagonist. He's the one we care about the most. Played by Owen Teague. I don't know if I know who that is. Oh, he was in It, and also It Chapter 2. I don't know. Oh, he was in Bloodline. So I've seen him in things. But he's your main character. So he they come across what they call an echo. We find out that echoes are humans. He comes across something they think is an echo. They find a blanket. They bring it back to their people. Later, that same woman barges in and tries to steal fish from them, crushes his egg. And he's like, oh, crap, because his father's like the head of the Eagle clan, crushes the egg. And he's like, I have to go back and get another one. So he goes out, and then he gets raided, or he finds this kind of raiding party of other apes who I guess what they're doing is just going to all these villages and taking them over and taking everyone's slaves, and you're part of the kingdom now. So, yeah, I guess he is a villain. But once he has everyone in the kingdom, it's not like, I guess they're doing slave work, but they're kind of living life too. So it's not all bad, but I think maybe that's how kingdoms try to, like, look, we're giving you this, we're giving you that. Now you must work for me to open these doors. It's basically Noah trying to get back to his people, get back to his mother, and get back to his two friends. Was it Anaya and Suna? The sooner the better. It's because they're the threesome. It's Suna might be like his girlfriend, love interest, and Anaya his best friend. He wants to get to them, and along the way he runs into I don't know what kind of animal Raka is, but I was like, why do I know that voice? I know that voice, and it's because it's an actor named Peter Macon, who I knew from the Orville. I was like, oh, that's why I know that friggin' voice. He kind of plays this wise guy who teaches Noah, like, hey, there were teachings called from someone named Caesar, and he's like, they call their king Caesar. He goes, no. That's wrong. That's not the real. They mentioned Caesar. No, they're mentioning him wrong. They're using him wrong. His real thing was human and ape working together and being together. An ape must not kill ape. They become fast friends, and they're like, let's travel together. And that's when they come across the woman, the human woman, who they call an Echo. Then they call her Nova, which is a callback to all the way back to the original. We find out later her name is May, and she can talk, and she's intelligent, and there are more like her. And I was trying to figure out why she's going with them, but then it seems like at one point it looked like she was going to stay with Raka and these gross-looking, like cave-looking people, but the Bad Kingdom runs them or overran them too, which reminded me again of the original movie all the way back in the 60s, with the horses on ape, the horses on ape back. I was going to say the apes on horseback. So they stay together. They run off. There's fighting, and then they get attacked. They get beaten. They get brought into the kingdom. I apologize for yawning. It's 10:30 as I'm recording this. And that's where they learn about Proximus Caesar, the king, and they meet Trevathan, who was William H. Macy. I thought, oh, what ape is William H. Macy? Oh, he's just William H. Macy. He plays a human who basically accepts the king, accepts the apes running things, and just is looking out for a number one, because really what the king wants to do, played by Kevin Durant, who I always like, he wants to get through this door. He thinks the humans have things back there that will help apes to evolve, that help the humans have all these special things, and he thinks that he can get behind this door. He can get it, and then the apes can evolve quickly. And May explains to them, this is where humans put all their, like when the world was crumbling, they went and put everything in there. And it looked like they lived in there, because very easily she just went up to a vent and crawled in, which was kind of like they were working like crazy. The apes were trying to figure out how to open these doors. They have fireworks, they're pulling, they have horses, they have apes pulling chains. They couldn't get it. And like no one said, hey, is there a back door? And May's like, I think there's a back door. And she went to the back and like, let's just crawl in here. Boom. Easy. Done. Like that seemed a little too easy, but I don't care. So they go in, and you see some guns, you see tanks, you see all kinds of stuff. You also see like living quarters. So it seemed like the humans had this set up in like kind of end of the world scenario, but time passed, and I'm guessing they all died off, I guess. So she opens the door, and this is what was confusing to me. She opened the door, and they were like right there, like, hi, we're waiting for you. Like, did she think they would not be there? Then he's like, you can never trust a human. And she was like, yep. But did they think she was like double crossing them? Like, was she working? I thought it was a little confusing there, but again, I didn't care all that much because I was enjoying the ride. And it was a gorgeous movie to look at. So this is where it went a little bonkers. She lit a bomb, they had gunpowder, and that they helped set up, and she blew up this wall that was built by the ocean. Oh, excuse me. And it flooded everything, and it was kind of like crazy because a bunch of apes died that didn't deserve to. It seemed like most of the eagle clan climbed up to the top, and including Noah, who was able to fight off the big mean gorilla guy and allow him to die drowning. He gets up to the top and he's like, let's go home. And the king's like, not yet. We must fight and you must bow to your king. And then kind of through the movie, it's like, I will never get the birds to listen to my singing. And then, of course, he goes, oh, 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 does the singing. And the bird's like, we're here for you, buddy. They come in and they fight Proximus Caesar and they're like, and he's like, oh, no, birds. And he falls off the cliff. Whee! And he dies. And they're like, come on, let's all go home. And they go back to their village. Now, when they go back to the village, another thing that May did, she comes back and she's like, I just wanted to say goodbye. And he should have been like, lady, you killed a ton of apes, a ton of innocent apes. You're under arrest. Like, she had a gun, so she probably could have went, oh, watch out, and boom, and shot him. But it's like, he accepted her way too easy. He's like, Caesar says we could live together. If you didn't drown everyone, just kill the king, kill the bad guys, and kill the one ape that I really thought was Flea. He was like an ape version of Flea. If you think of Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, yes, that ape. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So he gives her the necklace that belonged to Raka. And is like, maybe someday, remember, it is important that we live together. And he goes off and brings his Suna, his girlfriend, to this telescope because he accidentally came across this telescope and he looked and he was like, what the hell? And then he saw it. May look through the telescope too. And he's like, I saw that she understood something in her eyes. And that's when you realize she's not dumb, or she's not simple. She's not mute. She is intelligent. And she goes back to some base with this thing. She took this thing out of the vault that all the tanks are in, but that's all flooded. That's all gone. She took this, it looks like a little hard drive, encryption key, brings it back. For some reason, they knew this was there, and for some reason it was there. Brings it back to this underground layer with a bunch of humans with electricity. They plug it in, and all these old decrepit satellite dishes turn. And I thought, wait, are they going to like space? And I really thought, okay, I'll tell you what I thought in a second. So the satellite turns and is like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is anyone out there? And it's like, hey, we're from Indiana. We can hear you. They're like, oh my goodness. And so you realize there are other humans out there, which then made me think, so should I be rooting for the humans? Because I'm not sure I am. But some of them are okay, but I don't know if I really liked May all that much. But so I guess there's just hope for the humans because there are other intelligent ones out there, even though they're saying that that they're all simple. They're not all simple. They're not all or dull or whatever the word is. There are others out there. So there's that, and at the same time, Noah looks up into the telescope, and he's like looking into the space and beyond, and that's where it ends. The telescope's looking into space, and the satellites are beaming into space. I don't understand exactly the significance, and I have to tell you, for a brief moment, I thought we were going to get something wonky where he looks up into space and he sees Earth, up there, and the whole time this wasn't Earth. But that wouldn't have made sense because we're dealing with all the way back to Rise of the Planet of the Apes and James Franco back when he acted in movies, before. So that would have been really strange. I don't know if it would have been Abraham Lincoln statue strange, but it would have been a little bit of a cheap, shocking moment that really wouldn't have been shocking more than it would have been confusing. Maybe it's just the idea is not just for the humans, but for the apes, the world is bigger than you realize, or at least the humans might remember if they find their books and they can read. But the apes will start to realize, oh, this is a bigger world. This is a bigger universe. Maybe, I'm not sure. Or maybe they'll start learning, and maybe they'll start wearing suits, and living in the cities that we see in the distant future. Ooh, the cattle prod. Was that a callback to one of the, was like Beneath the Planet of the Apes or Return to the Planet of the Apes or one of those? I forget, but I remember apes with cattle prods. Cattle prodding, or I guess human prods. What I loved just the, as I said, the look of this movie, and part of that was I love seeing like, or recognizing that they're in some place that's like, a habitat that we know of today that's familiar, but it's all overrun or decrepit. Like you see the escalators, and then I'm like, is that an airplane out there? Oh, and then they're at an airport. Oh my goodness. Or I think they're at a baseball field, or they're in a city. It was I love seeing that stuff. I all in all, I really enjoyed this movie. I think I liked all of them. I remember really liking Rise. I remember loving Dawn in the theater, and then War 4. I remember seeing. I remember bits and pieces of it. I remember Woody Harrelson, but I think I like this one more. Which again, I think it's the same. It's not the same director. I know that, but it's got to be the same people. So Josh Friedman wrote it, and he wrote the story for Avatar: Way of the Water, the story for Terminator: Dark Fate. He's written some. Ooh, he created the Sarah Connor. I can't talk. Terminator: Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I not again, but I think I've said that on a previous episode. If you've never seen that show, it's an underrated show. It's better than you think it should be. But different director too. So the director of this was a guy by the name of Wes Ball, who directed such films as this and all three Maze Runners. I don't know if there's three of them or not. He directed The Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, The Maze Runner, The Death Cure, and then 7 years after that, he directed, or 6 years, but if you know how to do math, directed this. Now he's going to be doing Legend of Zelda. Interesting. So the guy's a visual effects guy. He's worked on a ton of movies and TV shows. I thought this was well done. I've never seen any of the Maze Runner movies, but I was, where sometimes I watch these movies and I go, ooh, ooh, I roll my eyes, or I think, I didn't feel that in this. I'm halfway through and I'm going, I'm really enjoying this. And I think a lot of that had to do with the, again, I don't know what kind of ape that Rocco was, but he was my favorite part of this whole movie. And I think it has a lot to do with Peter Macon and his voice that just was like, I know that voice. I love that voice. Just overall, very enjoyable. I liked it a lot. I don't know if maybe a 3.5 stars on the old Letterboxd I might do. We'll see. Speaking of Letterboxd, you can find me there. Geek Mentality is my username there, and that's my username at pretty much every social media platform you can find, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. You can find me on Facebook at Fans.Experts and on YouTube at Fans.Experts. That's because the website is fans.experts.com. I think I'm done talking about this movie, but I quite enjoyed it. I can't, yes, it's another ape movie, so it's got sort of a formula, I guess, but it's one that works with me. It's one that clicked with me. I like this one. So I would say recommend if you want to, I just spoiled everything for you, but I would say if you watched it, I would be surprised. Well, that's why I guess it got an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes. I think most people, and especially fans of the rest of the series, I think they would have enjoyed this. But I might be done with simian-based films. I think. I mean, you never know. I don't know. Maybe there's an ape or a monkey in my future. We'll see. I really don't know. I just said that and I thought, wait a minute, did I just spoil something that I didn't even mean to? Because I'm not even sure I remembered there was a movie with dealing with that kind of stuff. Honestly, that wasn't planned. I don't even know if there is. I don't even know if I was going to put this on my month this year. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to leave you now because I need to get this episode up and get myself to Betty Bye. So I will see you tomorrow. But once again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans, not experts.